What's going on, everybody? Back again for another week of Q&A. So the way this works is all of you feel free, please, down below, submit your questions for next week's episode. What I then do is I go through all of the questions for the week and I pick 5 of those questions and I give my opinion, and that's what it is. It's an opinion of my response or my thoughts on those topics. Now, I've had my opinion changed before. I certainly don't think I have all the right answers. These are just kind of my thoughts, my initial response, my initial thought process about these questions. And I really, really look forward to it. And the thing that makes this fun, the thing that makes this great are all of the great questions. So if you have any question or any topic you'd love to hear my take on, again, down below in the comments, just type out what your question is and I will feature it in an upcoming episode. Every Wednesday, I will continue to do this. I look forward to this. It's my favorite content of the week. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the first question for this week right now.
Would you buy a raw, expensive card or only get a graded one, as some cards in the market are altered or counterfeit?
This is a really, really good question. Would I buy an expensive card that is not already in a slab? Well, first of all, I think all of us have a different opinion of what expensive means. For me, my thought of expensive might be like $200. For some of us, expensive might be over $1,000. So I think everybody's budget, everybody's income, everybody's financial situation would vary what is considered expensive and where your risk tolerance is at. And that's really, to me, what this is it's risk tolerance. A lot of cards at this point now are in holders. And we can have a big debate, and we have had lots of conversations about whether that's good or bad, whether we like cards raw or graded. And that is a whole different discussion. But to answer this specific question, first off, I believe that, SGC and PSA especially do a really good job of catching most cards that have been altered. I think that it is really rare that a fake card would get through, because to a trained eye with a few techniques, it is pretty easy to find a card that's altered or fake. But some people have gotten so good at altering cards that it is possible that a card would be altered and slip through the cracks. So know that when you go and buy a slabbed card from even a very reputable company like SGC or PSA, there is still a chance that the card may have been altered. So very rare, but possible. I still buy some raw cards. I like raw cards. In a lot of ways, I prefer raw cards. And so, yes, I still buy cards raw frequently. And I give them a really good look over, and I try some of those tests to determine if they're, real or not. A lot of that is the texture. A lot of that, again, is the smell. I've talked about some of these things. In fact, on my Hobbypalooza episode that posted Sunday on Bench Clear Media, me and the 2 people that were on with me, Orlando from A Collector's Dream and Ryan from Breakout Cards, we talked about some of those methods because Ryan wrote a book on fake cards and how to spot a fake. So my response would be, if it was an expensive card, and to me that would be over about $200, I would consider an expensive card. If I was in person, I would consider buying a card over $200 that is raw. And the reason I would do it in person is because I feel fairly confident at being able to look that card over and determine if it's a fake. Have I been duped? Sure. I think all of us have had times where something happened like that. I've gotten better at it. I think it would be a lot less likely now, but it is possible. So in person, my threshold would probably be about $400 or so. Above that, personally, I would buy a card that would be slapped by pretty much SGC or PSA. Now, if a card was below that and slabbed, then I would consider some of the other companies as well. Now, if we're talking about buying a card online, then my threshold is going to be lower. I'm probably not going to buy a card that is ungraded for more than about $150 if it's not been slapped. If it is an ungraded card under $100 and $150, I will do it. Absolutely. I have done it. I did it this week. I bought 3 ungraded cards and they were all under $100 and they were ungraded. So yes, I do it. I don't make a habit of doing it over that threshold. So in person, I'm willing to chance it a little bit more because I have more information because I'm with the card. Online, I would say about $150 is probably about my max that I would spend on an ungraded card. So to me, above that, I go safe because it's too much money for my budget and my financial situation. I'm going to go with a graded card below that threshold. So again, online, I'm probably not going above about 150 to buy a raw card. In person, I'm probably going up to about 400 for a raw card. Is there going to be an exception from time to time? Sure, of course. But for the most sake, that is pretty much my cutoff for raw versus graded. Hope that answers your question. Let's take a look at the next question.
Why do you have an Olympic Mark McGuire? I can see you wanting one in the 90s, but after the roids scandal, you said you tend to like to collect the good guys, so why spend money on a cheater's card?
All right, so the Mark McGuire Olympic card. I talked recently about how I have a Mark McGuire Olympic card, and so I understand this question. And here's my Mark McGuire Olympic card right here. Now, first of all, you can see I bought an 8. And this card I bought online, I believe it was about $12. So number one, I'm not spending big money on my Mark McGuire Olympic card. Another card that I bought that kind of falls into the same description potentially is my Jose Canseco. And my Jose Canseco rated rookie in a 9 holder, I think I paid about $35 for. So for these 2 cards, I've got about $50 in it. I think what it really, to answer the question, what it really boils down to is why do I even collect? And the reason I collect is, one, I like having things that I enjoy having, but a lot of it takes me out of this adult world that I live in with, bills and work and stress and things, and transports me into this world of when I was a kid, when I was collecting, and that simpler time of my life. So a lot of the cards that I like to collect are cards that remind me of my childhood and bring me back to that happier time. I shouldn't say happier time, that simpler time in life. I'm happier now than I was when I was 10. No doubt about it. But it was a simpler time, and it was a really, really fun time. Going to card shows with my dad and my brother, some of my best memories of my childhood. And I remember going through card shows as a kid, seeing that Mark McGuire card, and it was completely unaffordable. Now, I started collecting in 1987, and the first chase card for me was a 1987 Topps Mark McGuire. And I mean, I could vividly picture the card. He's bending over, he's in his green top, and he's ready to swing. And I opened a lot of packs, and I didn't find that card. And I wanted that card. And there was no eBay. And there weren't even local card shops. They were very rare. There were card shows, but I wasn't even aware of them. But I wanted that card. And I can tell you that I actually went to KB Toys in the mall because they had complete sets. They had factory sets. And I knew if I bought a complete factory set, I would get the Mark McGwire card. It was the only way at the time I could get that card. And I bought the entire factory set so I could have the Mark McGwire card. Now, and I did it, and I got the card. And there were some cards that were just unaffordable. There were some cards that were the card that everybody was going after. And we're talking 1987 and 1988 when I first got into the hobby. And those two cards that everyone was after were this card and this card. And I always wanted them. And guess what? For $50, I got them both. So whatever Jose Canseco did in his career, whatever, supplements or steroids he took, or same for Mark McGwire, does not matter to me. It does not matter because these are cards that I wanted as a kid, but I couldn't have them. But now I can. It's just like the kid who loves, old classic cars growing, as a kid and a teenager and goes to car shows and sees these 67 Mustangs and just looks at them. And then he gets older and he gets a good job and he makes some money and he's 60 years old and he says, I'm buying that 67 Mustang. Well, guess what? That's my 67 Mustang. And it was $35. So I collect cards because they transport me from all of the realities of the world to a really fun time in my life. And having these two cards helps me do that.
What is your opinion on non-sports trading cards? I do have some in my collection, mostly Star Wars.
All right. I love non-sport cards. I love them. I've been collecting them for a long time. I don't talk about them a lot on my channel because I know a lot of us aren't that interested in it. So when you ask, I am excited to talk about non-sport cards. Now, one of the things people have asked a lot of me too is show off more of my collection. So I'm going to show off some of my non-sport card collection right now to show you my thoughts on it. Again, I don't know what it is about non-sport cards that I like, but I really, really like them. Now, first off, I want to show you 1952, Topps came out with their first sort of regular baseball card set. 51, they had the red backs and the blue backs. But in 52, they came out with that iconic set. And they came out with another iconic set. And it was all people who weren't baseball players, although there were a couple of athletes in there. Babe Ruth is in the set. And that look and see set, I love the cards. And they look just like the 52 Topps baseball cards, but they're a little smaller, and they're called look and see. And so I have a lot of them. I have this George Washington. I've got Ben Franklin. I've got inventors. I got Thomas Edison, right? Now, when you look at these cards, the cool thing about them is they were done and commit by the same artist that was commissioned for the baseball cards were commissioned for the look and sees. So they look very, very similar, but they're an insanely small fraction of the price. So this is a Harry Truman, right? Really decent looking card. That card was like $10. And it's in really good condition. I got Henry Ford. I've got Wilbur Wright. Alexander Hamilton. None of these were more than about 12. Well, the George Washington was the most expensive one. I think that one was at $18. This one's a little off center, but pretty darn good card for 1952, the same year. Then I've got a Paul Revere is my only graded one. And I only bought that one graded because it was a really good deal. So I love cards on historical figures like that. And the 1952 Look and See set is a great place to get started if you're interested in. They're beautiful. They're not super hard to find, and they're insanely affordable. But to answer that question even further, because you mentioned Star Wars cards, I was born in '79. That was right during the height of the first boom of Star Wars stuff. So I have a lot of Star Wars stuff. Now, this is a Yoda rookie card. Now, the first time Yoda appeared on a card is this one. So this is my Yoda rookie card. Got that one in a 6. I've got this other really cool Yoda card. This one's in an 8. I've got an R2-D2 sticker. R2-D2 is always my favorite guy on Star Wars. And then, you got to have the rookie card for Darth Vader. That's a Darth Vader rookie card. Now, some people would say, oh, well, that's not his rookie card because there's this other card. Okay, for me, this is the first major manufactured card of Darth Vader. First time he appeared on a card with a major manufacturer. And then I collect other stuff. I got Superman. This is a Superman sticker, number 1 sticker. I bought this at a shop in San Diego. I think it was 50 cents or it was either a quarter or 50 cents for this sticker. And people go, why do you want that? I don't know. Superman was the coolest guy around when I was a kid. And so why wouldn't I want a Clark Kent card? Why wouldn't I want a Superman card? Again, this right here, it was either $2. That was either $2 or $1. I don't remember which. But I like having it, right? I bought some A-Team cards. Now, I went through the stack of A-Team cards and I pulled out all the Mr. T's. They were 25 cents each. Now some of you go, A-Team, Mr. T, what are you talking about? When I was a kid, the A-Team, that was like the best show around, right? And Mr. T was the coolest guy. So for 25 cents, what do I have? 6 of them here? That's $1.50. How can I not buy those for $1.50? I love this stuff. I love non-sport stuff. I don't know if you'd consider this a sport or not. Some of us would, some of us wouldn't. That's a different debate. But I got my Hulk Hogan rookie card. Now, no, he was on this other card. Yes, there are a couple of other cards out there. But again, this is the first Topps Hulk Hogan card. There's a blue one and a yellow one. The yellow one is earlier in the set. So a lot of people consider this a Hulk Hogan rookie card. And some people say, no, that's a different one. I love this card. Hulk Hogan. I watched WrestleManias as a kid all the time. When he body slammed Andre the Giant, I was going nuts in a room with a bunch of my buddies. So, of course, I got to have a Hulk Hogan rookie card. I love non-sport cards. Again, I referred to this earlier. The live stream that I did on Sunday with Orlando and with Ryan, we talked a lot about non-sport stuff, and both of them kind of agreed. I asked them, what do you think at the very end of the stream? And it's recorded on Bench Clear Media's channel right now. You could go and watch it. And I hope that you do. It was a really fun conversation. I said, what do you guys think is sort of the undervalued thing that you think is up and coming? And they, both of them said, I think it's non-sport stuff. I think it's political figure cards. I think Ryan's comment was even, why is a Reggie Jackson rookie card worth more than a Neil Armstrong card? It's an interesting question. And I would probably say, well, the demand for the Reggie Jackson card is higher. But will it always be that way? I don't know. So if you're interested in vintage non-sport, look and see. I'm telling you, whenever I see a nice one at a good price, I just keep picking them up. I think they're awesome.
Do you put any value on the eBay authentication seal on graded cards? I have 1 or 2, and I'm not sure if I should take the seal off.
The eBay seal of authentication, what do I think of it? Do I take the stickers off? I think it's Mangini's channel. If you haven't seen his channel, he's fun. He's got a cool collection, and he's a very entertaining guy. I'll put a link to his channel or information to his channel down below in the description. But he makes fun of it. He'll get a card that has the eBay authentication sticker, and he'll go, "Oh, good, I'm glad eBay authenticated it because now I know it's real." You know, a lot of tongue in cheek. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, so if you look, certain cards over certain price points, eBay does an authentication for, where they have the card sent from the seller to the third party. The third party authenticates that it's real, and then they send the card to you, and it comes sealed in this authentication. Now, do I put any validity into it? Now, first of all, who's the authenticator, right? Because if something's authenticated, I could authenticate something, doesn't mean it's authentic, right? So it was CSG who has, now I know CSG did a merger recently, and I don't know, I don't even remember what they're called. I'll put a picture up right now with what they call themselves now, but it's better than nothing, right? I think that they're knowledgeable enough, they understand how to spot fakes well enough that it probably gives you some peace of mind. Now, if it's already in a PSA holder, I mean, or an SGC holder, I mean, there are some fake holders out there, but for the most part, don't really need it. But if it's a raw card, I think it's better than nothing to know that it is authentic by having the third party check it out. Now, if you look on eBay's website, they also mentioned that they have a PSA partnership. So some of the cards go to CSG for the authentication, and some of them, I guess, go to PSA. A lot of the times when I track a card that goes through that process, it will go down to Newport Beach, which is where PSA is headquartered. So I'm guessing it might be regional on how it works, but those are two pretty big companies, pretty well-established companies, and I do think that it's better than nothing. So would I leave the sticker on there? Well, I guess, I mean, sure. Now, to me, it doesn't really cover my card. So this T206 Elmer Flick card, it doesn't cover the card. I can see the card, right? Now, part of the reason for that is because it's a tobacco card, a T206 card, which is smaller, so I can still see it. It's not blocking anything. So I'm kind of like, well, I might as well leave it on there because it can't hurt. If I wanted, if it bugged me at all, yeah, I'd just take it off. Like, unless you're trying to sell, because if you were trying to sell, it could add some peace of mind to the buyer, and that peace of mind could add some value to the buyer. So, because they don't just authenticate the cards that are in holders, they also authenticate raw ones. I mean, I was at a show the other day, and I was looking at a 1954 Ernie Banks rookie card, and it was ungraded, but it was still sealed with the authentication label. And I'll be honest, it did make me say, oh yeah, it's more likely that this isn't a fake card because it's sealed and authenticated. And eBay, stands behind it. So if there was an issue, then, there's that as well. So do I think it's valuable? A little. Do I think I'd leave the sticker on? Only if it didn't bother you. If it bothered you, I'd probably take it off. If you're going to keep the card, less reason to keep it on. If you were going to try to sell the card, I'd be more likely to keep it on there because the potential buyer might see that and give them peace of mind, which might add some value. So the answer for me is kind of depends. Keeping it and it bothers you, take it off. Keeping it and it doesn't bother you, might as well leave it on. Planning on selling it, I'd leave the sticker on. That's my thought. Tell me what you think if you disagree, though, because I'm open to have my mind changed on this one for sure.
What's your definition of a player run for your collection? Is it a card from each year, anything you can find on a player, etc.?
All right, so I think this is a great question. And to help answer the question, I brought on my friend Theo, from a Clemente collector. And the reason is, if you look over Theo's shoulder there, you can see his wide array of Clemente cards, right? And so why not ask a person who predominantly spends their time collecting a single player? Now, I know you collect other stuff too, but you're a big time Clemente collector. And so the question to you that I have is, what do you think? What is a player run? Is it just the base cards? Is it every card? What do you think?
Well, thank you for having me on your channel, Greg. I love your show. This is awesome. But so a player run to me is whenever you try to collect their top base cards, or if they have Bowman base cards, you can include those. So Clemente's first base card is his 1955 rookie card, and his last tops card is this 1973 card. So a player run to me is whenever you collect each card for each year, just the base cards by themselves. So a player collector is different to me because I know a lot of guys out there who have 10, 12, 15 player runs where they've collected that player's that player's base set, their base run. But a player collector to me collects more than just their base cards. They collect food issue cards. They collect multiplayer cards. They might even collect team cards. So to me, a player collector and a player run are two different things.
Now, I completely agree. You put it way more eloquently than I think I would have. But yeah, I think the base cards, collecting the whole run of base cards would make you have the whole player run. But there are other cards that involve that player, but you don't need those to complete the run.
Exactly. Here's an exhibit card right here.
Okay, so and those are like 1950s, right? Do you know?
Yeah, so basically they put a range, so it's 47 to 66. Obviously,
Right.
Clemente didn't start till 55, so he wouldn't actually fall in the 40s range, but all the grading companies pretty much put the range in there because they were available during that range in the
Sure.
machine. But basically, my other point is the one thing I go back and forth with some of my friends on is what is a super collector? And to me, a super collector is somebody who collects more than just cards. They collect memorabilia, they collect the autographs, they collect ticket stubs with the players' games on them. So to me, I'm not a Clemente super collector yet. I'm more of a Clemente player collector. But to me, I honestly think it's the best collector you can be, to be honest with you, because I grew up a die-hard Pittsburgh Pirates fan, and I'm collecting the best pirate of all time. Why would I want to spend my hobby money on another player? Personally, I do have about 10% of my collection into other cards, but me personally, I have skin in the game. It's my favorite team, my favorite player of all time. I would rather get their tops poster than some other player from another team's card. If that makes sense.
Sure. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So I think that's our answer, and the best place to get it is from a player collector himself. If you're not a subscriber of Theo's channel, check him out. Clemente Collector does lots of fun events on weekends. In fact, in a week or two, I'm going to be a guest on one of his panels for a fun evening on Sunday. What's the date, Theo?
It should be Sunday, July 9th at 9 o'clock Eastern. We're going to rank the 1970s rookie cards. We're going to rank from the least one to the best 1970s rookie card. So that's going to be
Awesome.
fun.
Awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. Check that out. Check out Theo's channel. Thanks for your help, Theo.
Well, thanks for having me, Greg. You
Of
do a great job.
course.
Keep it up.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right, so thanks to Theo for joining me there, a Clemente collector. He's got some cool Clemente stuff. He's got a fun channel. His channel really revolves around collaboration, spending a lot of time with other guys and talking about cards. He does lots of live streams, lots of fun events, so check him out. But I thought it would be fun to include a person who is really a player collector to help answer that question, because he probably has a different perspective, which I think that he does, and I really like his answer. I really agree with his answer. So that wraps it up for this week. But again, down below, if you've not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. And also, please take a second to ask your question if you have anything you'd love to hear my thoughts on.
What did you think of my answers? Let me know in the comments below if there's anything you did or didn't agree on. And also, ask your question.